If you want to become a good writer, here's something that might surprise you. The best writing advice that I ever got did not come from a writing class. No one told me about it. The best writing advice that helped me become a better writer came from reading great books. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over the top 3 book series that completely changed the way I write and made me such a better writer going forward. Hey everyone, I'm Issa. I'm a novice writer, and over the past few years, I've read a lot of books, mostly in the fantasy genre. While there's plenty of books that I really enjoyed, there's 3 series that really taught me the most of and completely changed my approach to writing. These aren't necessarily my top 3 favorite books or book series. They were the most helpful for me as a beginner. So let's get right into it. So the first series that completely changed the way that I write is actually going to be A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. It's perhaps one of the most famous books, fantasy series ever now. And this one actually inspired me to start writing in the first place. And the reason why I was inspired to write in the first place from this book is because how enthralling the character work is, and how I realized how somebody can make a new world on the page. And I've always wanted to do something like that, to like create my own thing. And this taught me, opened my eyes to see, okay, it's possible. Westeros did not exist. Now it exists, here on the page in your head. And I've always been fascinated with that kind of idea. The characters and the way that George Martin presents his characters and writes them is just, I really love that style of like the POV character, and I think he does it really well. I don't think he does it the best, but I think he does it really well, and it really inspired me to write like he does and with character work in terms of like POVs. Another thing that this series taught me was morally gray characters are actually not bad, and they're actually good. I've always resonated more with a morally gray character, and I've always enjoyed them more because it's so much more realistic than having the classic, because it's so much more realistic than the classic hero or villain trope. I'm not saying that's bad. There's plenty of good stories with the hero and the villain trope. I'm just saying that I personally enjoy writing and reading more about characters who are not totally evil or totally good, and they feel more human to me. This series also introduced me to like character motivations, and the more I read, the more I kind of got the understanding of that the motivation of characters drives the story. And it's just the perfect way, in my opinion, to make a story is by the motivations of your characters. So for me, in my first novel that I wrote, a lot of the world is kind of styled after that feudal system that George Martin has in Westeros, and it worked out very well for me. I think I really enjoyed writing it. I quite enjoyed the finished product. My first influential series, Song of Ice and Fire. So the second series that completely changed the way that I write is going to be The First Law by Joe Abercrombie. Now, this not only changed the way I write, but this series is personally my favorite book series I've ever written, and it is the most unbelievable transformation for me that I've ever had with writing. The way that Abercrombie writes his characters is just unmatched. It completely changed the way that I view characters and how to write them. I had already started writing for a while before I read The First Law, and it taught me how to progressively write better character voice, because in The First Law you can know the character POV chapter without even looking at the title, just by looking at the character voice. His characters are so distinct, and the books teach you so much about how to write good characters. And like I said before, character motivations is what drives the story. The actions that they do is what makes the story. That is what the story is. That is what a story is. It's the actions of the people in it. And the better motivations and reasons for those actions, the more they make sense, maybe not at the beginning, but eventually, then the better story you have. And talking about character work and POV chapters, the Heroes, which is the fifth book in the First Law series, has the best prose in the entire series and the best prose I've ever seen. Something else that Abercrombie's books have taught me was emotional investment in characters. And I did not get this as much. I did get this, but not as much from A Song of Ice and Fire because I was already familiar with the show. So the surprise is like the red wedding didn't really didn't surprise me. I was already spoiled the whole series pretty much. So I wasn't really emotionally invested because I already known what was going to happen. So not to knock George R. Martin for that, the emotional investment that I get from these books taught me the importance of being invested in your own writing. So I highly, highly, highly recommend reading The First Law by Joe Abercrombie if you want to become a better writer. The last book series that I recommend if you want to become a more well-rounded author is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Now, what Abercrombie can do with character work is what Pierce Brown can do with pace. The pacing of his writing is so good. It enthralls you the entire time. There's never a dull moment. Whenever you think something might be getting a little bit too boring or too dragged out, it changes like that. And I personally did not feel that at all with any of the original trilogy. After reading his Red Rising trilogy, I completely made me rethink the way I think about pacing in my books. I immediately realized that I can tighten more scenes. I don't need as much of this, I don't need filler. Another thing with Red Rising is that early on moments pay off in the end. Same with Abercrombie as well. And that really taught me to start planting seeds for the end in the beginning. So like when the reader reads through across several books, they can get rewarded for things that happened before. Another thing it taught me is that the story should always feel like it's moving forward. Every chapter should make the reader feel like they want to keep reading afterward. They should feel like they need to continue. So if you want your writing to be paced better, I would highly recommend reading the Red Rising trilogy by Pierce Brown. But if there's one thing that I want you to take from this video, if you want to become a better writer, is just to read. Not because you want to copy them and other authors, but because these books teach you something so valuable that nothing else can teach you. It teaches you how to write a good story, what a good story looks like. It teaches you dialogue, pacing, character work. Even if you only read for entertainment, which I prefer, it still will teach you in your subconscious how to write better. You will start thinking and reading even like a writer without even thinking about it. You'll just become a better writer automatically. And honestly, I think this is one of the most important steps you can take if you want to start writing your first book. It is to just read more books and get a general better understanding about what a good book looks like and how to write good books. If you enjoyed this video, let me know which books made you a better writer, and I'd love to add them to my reading list. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.